How many of you have imagined far off wild Africa and imagined its wild animals like the cheetah? How many of you know what a cheetah is? How many of you know how the cheetah got its tear marks? Okay, well, let's begin. Once upon a time, in some far-off land, preferably Africa, there was a cheetah. And she was a mother cheetah with 3 cubs. Now also in Africa, there was an evil, lazy hunter who was so lazy he didn't want to hunt. He wished meat would just fall into his lap. But we all know meat doesn't just fall into our laps, right? So one day he was sitting there under a great big baobab tree, wishing meat would just fall into his lap. And then he saw the mother cheetah, and a light bulb came on in his head. He watched her slink out from the bushes and head down to the watering hole. And there he had an idea. He would take one of those mother cheetah's babies for himself. So he snuck into the mother cheetah's den, and he saw not 1 cheetah cub, but 3. And so he picked up the first cheetah cub, and that cheetah cub growled at him and went, and so he set it down. He picked up the second cheetah cub, and it went, grrr, and so he set it down. And he picked up the third cheetah cub, and it just purred at him. Now, he had to make up his mind which one to take, but he couldn't make up his mind. And so he just picked up all 3 and walked away. Now, the mother cheetah came into her den, and she was shocked and deeply upset because her cheetahs were gone. And so she started to cry, and tears ran down her cheeks. So she went out looking, because at first she thought maybe they had just wandered away from the den. But over 2 days, she started to realize that they hadn't, and they were truly gone. Now, the important thing to remember about this cheetah mother was she was no ordinary cheetah mother. She was a spirit mother, which means she could change her shape into a human if she willed to. And so she started to look, and then she realized she'd have to go for help. And so she shed her cheetah skin and went to the village, a lowly, humble village, and she asked for help. The women of the village were very eager to help because they were mothers too and couldn't bear to see them gone, to see their own children gone. The men, well, they agreed to help eventually. And so this group of villagers and the cheetah mother went out searching, and she cried and called all the time until eventually they came to the evil man's hut. And the cheetah mother threw the door down, and she saw the evil man cowering in fear. And she just stood there and looked how an angry mother would look. Just stood there. How many of you have had your mother stand there and glare at you like that? So you all know how he felt. And so he sat there and he cowered in fear. And she looked at him and she said, "Why did you take my cubs?" And then without waiting for an answer, she grabbed him by the scruff of the neck. Not much unlike how she would do to her own children. And she shook him, and then she threw him into the heavens. And there he stays today. Many of you know him as Orion the Hunter, but he is really the lazy, evil man because he stands as a warning to everybody else not to take what is not theirs. The cheetah mother, of course, was reunited with her cubs, but because she had cried for so long and so hard, she had tear marks down her cheeks forever. And that is how the cheetah got its